Hello everybody. Yesterday we started about the induction motor. In the yesterday's session I told you about the construction of the induction motor, classification of the induction motor, principle of operation and working of the induction motor. We also discussed about the production of rotating magnetic field when the stator winding of the induction motor is connected to a three-phase supply. Now, this rotating magnetic field produced by the stator rotating at a synchronous speed causes a voltage induced in the short circuited rotor conductors. At the time of starting, the induced EMF will be proportional to the relative speed between the rotating magnetic field and the stationary stator. So, under this condition, the induced voltage will be larger and its frequency also is equal to the supply frequency. Once the rotor picks up a speed because of the magnetic field produced by the rotor, there will be the induced currents actually in the rotor as per the Lenz's law will oppose the cause of production of the current. Now, the cause of the production of the induced current in the rotor is the relative speed between the rotating magnetic field and the rotor. So, in reducing the relative speed, the rotor also rotates in the same direction as that of the rotating magnetic field. So, under running condition, the induced voltage in the rotor conductors of the induction motor is directly proportional to the relative speed between the rotating rotor and the rotating magnetic field of the stator. Now, since both the rotor as well as the magnetic field produced by the stator are rotating in the same direction, the relative speed now decreases, therefore, the induced voltage also decreases and the frequency under that running condition is again proportional to the slip speed ns minus n. So, the slide what you are seeing now, it is about the frequency of the induced currents in the induction motor rotor conductors under running condition. Okay. So, you can see here the slip speed what we have given here ns minus n, it is proportional to 120 fr by p, where this fr it is the frequency of the rotor conductors under running condition. Now, in this expression we have ns is equal to 120 f by p, where p is the number of poles, f is the supply frequency. Now, the rotor and stator both will have equal number of poles here. Therefore, by dividing these two, ns minus n divided by ns, we will be getting a relationship between the supply frequency and the rotor frequency under running condition. Okay. This is the expression which gives us the relationship between rotor frequency and the stator frequency through the slip of the induction motor. Yesterday also we saw that slip cannot be 0 here, because if the slip is 0, there won't be any relative speed between the rotor and the stator, therefore, no EMF is induced in the rotor conductors and no current will be set up. So, the principle of the motor is not satisfied, therefore, the induction motor can never run at synchronous speed and making the slip is equal to 0. Always there will be a slip speed between the rotating magnetic field of the stator and the rotor. So, this is what we have a relationship. Under running condition, frequency will be always lesser than the supply frequency. Here in this expression, when S is equal to 1, which happens under starting condition, I have the induced currents having a frequency of Fr is equal to supply frequency, but under running condition this frequency will be less than the supply frequency because of this S here. Okay. So, the input to the induction motor is electrical power, its output is a mechanical power, and for that we should know some terms and quantities related to mechanical power. So, here I have a torque. Any mechanical load applied to the motor shaft will introduce an increased demand of torque on the motor shaft. Okay. So, the rotation of the rotor should supply this torque. So, the torque is related to the motor output power and the rotor speed. So, I have here torque under load condition will be output divided by the mechanical speed of the motor. So, where mechanical speed will be 2 pi Nm divided by 60, which will be measured in radians per second. Nm is the speed of the motor under running condition. Okay. It will be measured in revolutions per minute. So, another unit used to measure the mechanical power is the horsepower. It is used to refer the mechanical output power of the motor. Since we electrical engineers deal with watt as a unit to measure the electrical power, there is a relationship between horsepower and watts. So, 1 horsepower will be equal to 746 watts. So, this is all another method of horsepower is another unit for expressing the mechanical power of the induction motor. Okay. See, all the motors requires a starter. Now, what is the necessity of a starter? If you see this, when a 3-phase induction motor of higher rating is switched on directly from the mains, it draws a starting current of about 4 to 7 times the full load current depending on the design of the induction motor. So, this higher amount of current drawn by the motor at the time of starting, it causes a large amount of voltage drop in the supply lines which are connected to other loads. So, at the time of starting, the larger voltage drop what is taking place in the lines, okay, will affect the performance of the other equipment connected to the same supply. So, to limit the starting current to a safe value, okay, we need a starter for the induction motor. Okay. So, the starting current is limited by applying a reduced voltage in case of a squirrel cage type induction motor and by increasing the impedance of the motor circuit in the case of slip ring type induction motor. In the yesterday session, I told you about the classification of the induction motors. The one of the constructions for the rotor where the rotor is made up of squirrel cage type, it is not possible to add any resistance into the rotor circuit. Therefore, the starting control what all you have to do, we have to do from the supply side, that is the stator side. Whereas, in the case of the other type of rotor, that is wound rotor or slip ring type induction motor, there it is possible to add an external resistance to the rotor circuit through the slip rings. So, addition of resistance increases the rotor impedance, thereby the starting torque of the induction motor increases. Okay. So, these are the different types of starters what we use for the starting of induction motor. If a motor is rated less than 5 HP, I can start the motor directly online, that is called as a DOL starter. Okay. Then we have a star delta starter, then we have a auto transformer starter, then we have a rotor impedance starter, then the power electronic starters are also there. Okay. These are all advanced starters where here also we will be applying a reduced voltage in at the time of starting. Okay. But these are all static devices, there won't be any moving parts and all. Just by controlling the firing angle of a thyristor, we can control the current flow into the or the voltage applied to the stator, thereby I can control the starting current. So, generally out of all these starters, DOL starter, these are used for the motors less than 5 HP. There is no any extra connections here, it directly started on the line. Okay. Then we have a star delta starter. The second starter, this what you have here also, it is used as reduced voltage starting. Okay. Now remember when we did this 3-phase connections, that is star delta connection, I told you about the relationship between the line voltage and the phase voltage in the star connection and the relationship between the line voltage and the phase voltage in the delta connection. So, that relationships are used here in starting the induction motor. An auto transformer starter, here also it will be using a reduced voltage method. At the time of starting we will apply a smaller voltage, therefore the current drawn by the induction motor is smaller. As the motor picks up the speed, I gradually move the contacts in such a way the voltage will be increased from minimum value to the full value. Okay. So, that is what the technique of using auto transformer starter. So, out of all the starters, I just explained the star delta starter. See, the star delta starter is a very common type of starting, okay, and extensively used compared to the other type of starters. This method uses reduced supply voltage in starting. The method achieved low starting current by first connecting the stator winding in star configuration, and then after the motor reaches a certain speed we throw the switch in such a way that the star connected winding gets converted to a delta configuration. Okay, I can just explain this with a small circuit diagram. I will show you in the next slide. So, by connecting the stator winding first in star then in delta, the line current drawn by the motor at the starting is reduced to 1/3 as compared to starting current with the windings connected in delta. Okay, this here I just like to give a small equation. When the stator windings are connected in star, if the supply voltage is V volts, the voltage applied across each phase will be V by root 3. So, because of this, the current drawn by the motor decreases. Okay, and once the motor windings are connected in delta, the full voltage will be applied across the delta connected the stator, because in the delta connection the value of the phase voltage and the line voltage both are equal. Okay. So, this is how reduced voltage will be applied across the stator winding at the time of starting, and once the motor picks up the speed, we can change the connection from star connection to delta, thereby increasing the voltage. See, at the time of starting, when the stator windings are connected in star, each stator phase gets a voltage. Okay. So, this is where what you have used here, star delta connection. No additional components will be involved, just only a changeover switch from star to delta will be there. This can be made automatic, or you can also use a manual operation for changing from star to delta. Now, these are the three stator windings of the induction motor: R phase, Y phase and B phase. Okay. Now, the terminals R, Y and B, R dash and Y dash, B dash, they are connected to the switch here. Okay. When I close the switch onto the star side, you can see R dash, Y dash and B dash, all the three are connected together to a common point. Therefore, these windings are connected in star connection, and the voltage applied across each phase will be reduced by root 3 times, 1 by root 3 times the voltage of the supply. There won't be any change in the frequency. Okay. Now, once the rotor picks up a speed, I can change the star connection, that is, I can throw the switch onto the delta side. So, when I close the switch on the delta side, you can see finish of R, that is R dash, what is connected to this terminal. Now, it is making contact with this. Where it is connected? It is connected to Y. Okay. So, R dash will be connected to Y, Y dash will be connected to B and B dash will be connected to R. So, that gives us a closed loop connection of all the three phases, and the windings becomes delta connected. So, this is the basic principle. When I am using a automatic star delta starter, once the motor picks up some speed, after certain amount of time, this changeover from star to delta, it is automatic. Otherwise, I have to need to change it by manually also. We can do that. Okay. See, the induction motors are widely used in industry, and most of the industrial drives are nearly constant speed, okay, operations. So, for small workshop to the largest industrial enterprises, wherever you take, we do use the 3-phase induction motors very widely. Okay. Now, there are certain typical applications with machine tools, pumps and mill motors, where the squirrel cage induction motor is most widely used in all AC motors. Okay. So, application of squirrel cage induction motors are here: lathe, drilling machine, agricultural and industrial pumps, industrial drives. Okay. Now, the reason for the using of squirrel cage induction motors is they are simple and rugged construction, okay, relatively cheaper and requires lesser maintenance compared to slip ring type of induction motor. That is the reason why we normally use squirrel cage induction motors more widely. Okay? Slip ring induction motors, when compared to squirrel cage motors, have a larger starting torque, because in the squirrel cage induction motor, to increase the starting torque it is not possible. Okay? Therefore, wherever I want to use a higher starting torque, I go for using the slip ring induction motor. Okay? And this will have a smooth acceleration under heavy load condition, adjustable speed and good running characteristics. So, these properties of the slip ring induction motor makes us to use the slip ring induction motor in the lifts, cranes and conveyors. So, with this I come to the conclusion of the theoretical part of the induction motor. Let us see certain problems. Okay? So, I have a very simple problems here. So, the first problem is like this: a 200 volt, 208 volt, 10 HP, 4 pole, 60 hertz star connected induction motor has a full load slip of 5%. What is the synchronous speed of this motor? What is the rotor speed of this motor at rated load? And what is the rotor frequency of this motor at rated load? So, these are the 3 points what you are supposed to calculate. Okay? So, here what is the synchronous speed? Now, the synchronous speed for an induction motor depends upon the supply frequency and the number of poles, because the expression for synchronous speed is Ns is equal to 120 F divided by P. Okay? And the rotor speed, we have a relationship between the rotor speed and the synchronous speed and the full load slip of the induction motor. So, using the relationship I can calculate the speed of the motor. We also have a relationship for calculating the rotor frequency given the value of the slip and the supply frequency. So, with these 3 equations I show you the solution here. Synchronous speed Ns is 120 F by P. Okay? So, supply frequency is given as 60 hertz. There are 4 poles in the machine. So, 120 into 60 divided by 4 will give you a speed of 1800 RPM. Now, the second point what you are supposed to calculate is the full load speed of the induction motor. If the synchronous speed is Ns, okay, and the full load speed is N, the relationship between slip and this speed will be slip is equal to Ns minus N divided by Ns. So, simplifying that equation, I will be getting an equation like this: N, the full load speed, is equal to synchronous speed multiplied by 1 minus the slip. So, using the parameters 1800, 1 and the slip what is given is in percentage, when I put it as normal value 0.05, 5% is 0.05. Okay? This difference will give you 1 minus 0.05 is 95.95, that multiplied by 1800 will give you 1710 RPM. Okay? Now, you can see at no load the speed will be almost closer to this, not exactly 1800, because it is not possible for the motor to run at this. Okay? And at full load the speed of the motor is 1710. There is a difference of around just 90 RPM, revolutions per minute, from full load to the no load. So, this 90 RPM, it is very difficult for us to make out just by seeing the rotation of the rotor. We need to have an equipment or a device to measure the speed under full load condition. Otherwise, it is not possible to make out that the motor is running at a reduced speed of 1710 RPM under full load condition. Since the difference in the speed is quite smaller compared to the rated speed or to the synchronous speed, okay, I say the induction motor is almost a constant speed motor. Similarly, in the third point, what you have, Fr is equal to S into F, where S is the slip, F is the supply frequency, Fr is the frequency of the rotor current under running condition, or for this particular problem it is the full load. Okay? At full load, the rotor frequency Fr will be 0.05 times the supply frequency. This comes to be 3 Hertz. Okay? So quite smaller compared to the supply frequency of 60 Hertz. We have a second problem here. A 6-pole induction motor is supplied by a 10-pole alternator which is driven at 600 rpm. If the induction motor is running at 970 rpm, determine its percentage slip. Okay? Instead of giving the supply details, here I have given you the details of the alternator which is generating the required voltage to give to the induction motor. Okay? Now, to calculate the percentage slip of the induction motor, the voltage at which the induction motor is supplied, that is not important for us. We have to know only about at what frequency, okay, the induction motor is supplied. So for that, the data what is given in the problem is sufficient. Okay. So as for the data for the alternator, I have 10 number of poles. Okay. Alternator is running at 600 rpm. So now the frequency of the voltage generated by the alternator is given by this equation. Okay. F is equal to Pn by 120. Okay. Now here P is the number of poles of the alternator, 600 is the speed of the alternator. So this gives you 6000 divided by 120. I will be getting the supply frequency of the alternator is 50 Hertz, which means that the induction motor is supplied at a supply frequency of 50 Hertz. Now this frequency, when you give to the alternator, okay, we have a rotating magnetic field produced. So that rotating magnetic field produced will have a speed of Ns is equal to 120 F by P. So here P is the number of poles for the induction motor. Okay. So P is 6 for the induction motor. Supply frequency is the frequency generated by the alternator, 50 Hertz. So 50 into 120 divided by 6 will give you a speed of 1000 rpm. Okay, 1000 rpm. Now with synchronous speed as 1000 rpm, speed of the induction rotor as 970 rpm, I have the slip S is equal to Ns minus N divided by Ns. So 1000 minus 970 divided by 1000 will give you 30 upon 1000, that is 0.03, or when expressed in percentage I can call it as 3% slip. Okay. Now the third problem, it is like this. A 6-pole induction motor is supplied from a 3-phase 50 Hertz supply, has a rotor frequency of 2.5 Hertz. Calculate the percentage slip and the speed of the motor. Here also you can see the number of poles for the induction motor is 6, supply frequency is 50 Hertz. Therefore, I can calculate the synchronous speed of the induction motor by using this expression 120 F divided by P. Okay. So the number of poles what you have is 6, supply frequency is 50 Hertz, frequency of the rotor current is 2.5 Hertz. Okay. So using the relationship between the supply frequency, rotor frequency and the slip, I can calculate S is equal to 0.05, that is 2.5 divided by 50 will give you this much. Okay. So percentage slip is 5%. The speed of the motor will be, again I will be using the equation N is equal to Ns into 1 minus S. So that is 120 F by P is the expression for Ns into 1 minus S. Okay. So this is 1000 multiplied by 9.95 I get here. So it will give us a speed of 950 rpm for the motor. So in the other problem, the fourth problem what we have, an 8-pole alternator runs at 750 rpm and supplies power to a 6-pole 3-phase induction motor which runs at 970 rpm. What is the slip of the induction motor? This is almost similar to the third problem what we have done. Okay. Here also I need to calculate the frequency of the voltage generated by the alternator using the number of poles and the speed. Okay. And then using that supply frequency I can calculate the synchronous speed of the induction motor given the motor speed as 970 rpm, I can calculate what will be the slip for the induction motor. This solution is like this. The number of poles P is equal to 8, speed of the alternator is 750. So frequency generated by the alternator will be speed multiplied by number of poles divided by 120, it gives us 50 hertz. Okay. Now this is the frequency of the voltage the alternator is giving to the induction motor. Therefore, the synchronous speed will be 120 F by number of poles, that is 120 into 50 by 6. So I will get around 1000 rpm. Speed of the motor is given as 970. So the slip will be 1000 minus 970 divided by 1000. I will be getting 3% here. Now in the next problem, it is also about the induction motor. I need to use a relationship between the stator sub frequency, rotor frequency and the slip of the induction motor. The frequency of EMF in the stator of a 4-pole induction motor is 50 hertz and the rotor is 1.5 hertz. What is the slip and at what speed the motor is running? Okay. So based on the details, the solution is like this. Supply frequency is 50 hertz. Okay. Then the frequency of the EMF in the rotor is 1.5 hertz. So the rotor frequency is slip times the stator frequency. So using this relationship, I get the slip as 0.03. Okay. Then speed of the motor N is equal to Ns into 1 minus S. Therefore, I will be getting a speed of 1455 rpm. Okay. Now the synchronous speed is here 1500 because the number of poles on the induction motor are 4. Okay. So here also the speed difference, if you see for the induction motor, it is just around 45 rpm. Okay. It is very small from full load to the no load to the full load value. So in this case, I have a 3-phase 6-pole 50 hertz induction motor has a slip of 1% at no load and 3% at full load. Determine the synchronous speed, no load speed, full load speed, frequency of the rotor currents at standstill, frequency of rotor current at full load. There are so many points to calculate here, but these are very simple problem. Okay, it is a very simple problem here. Now this 3-phase induction motor, there are 2 slips given for us. One is the slip under no load condition, that is 1%, and at full load condition the slip given to be 3%. Always the motor under no load condition will be running at a speed very close to the synchronous speed. That is why the slip under no load condition will be smaller compared to the slip under full load condition. Okay. Now this case, the number of poles are 6, frequency is 50 hertz. Okay. So if I try to calculate the synchronous speed for the motor, I have Ns is equals to 120 F divided by P. So this will be 120 multiplied by 50 divided by 6 poles. I will be getting a speed of 1000 rpm. This is my synchronous speed. No load slip, I write here SNL. NL stands for no load. This is 1%. So I can write it as 0.01. Okay. So to calculate the no load speed of the induction motor, I will be using this expression N is equal to Ns into 1 minus S under no load condition. Therefore, it is 1000 multiplied by 1 minus 0.01 will gives us a speed of somewhere around 990 rpm. So there is a difference of only 10 rpm from the full load synchronous speed and the speed of the rotor under no load condition. Okay. So the synchronous speed we have calculated, we calculated the no load speed of the induction motor. Now it is given that slip under full load condition it is 3%, therefore this value will be 0.03. Speed of the motor under full load condition will be Ns into 1 minus slip under full load condition. So this comes to be 1000 RPM is the synchronous speed, 1 minus 0.03, this gives us 1000 multiplied by 0.97 will gives us a speed of 970 RPM. Now kindly see the difference between the no load speed and the full load speed. The difference is just 20 RPM. Okay, this is the, then coming to this frequency of the rotor current at standstill, I can say FR will be equals to slip at standstill multiplied by supply frequency. What do you mean by standstill condition? Okay, standstill condition means the rotating part of the motor should be remaining stationary, that is at standstill, because there is no rotation for the rotor, the speed of the motor is 0, but the magnetic field will be rotating at synchronous speed. So therefore the slip will be ns, starting slip will be ns minus n divided by ns, or I will be getting here ns minus 0 by ns, I will get a value of 1 as the slip. Okay, so when I express in percentage, I will be getting this as 100%. Okay, so at starting slip value will be 100% or 1. So therefore if I use this equation, the supply frequency is 50 hertz. Okay, at starting the slip is 1, therefore the rotor frequency FR at starting will be 50 hertz, that is under standstill condition it is 50 hertz. And the frequency of the rotor current at full load, if you see, I will be taking the same equation, but the slip value will be different there. I will take SFL multiplied by F, SFL is 3%, 0.03 multiplied by 50 hertz is the supply frequency, this results in a value of 1.5 hertz for the frequency of the rotor at full load. Okay, so I can also use another suffix here, FR FL, it is the full load one, then FR ST will be the frequency of the rotor current at standstill. Okay, of course the complete solution I provided in the next slide. So this is the solution what I have given for this particular problem. Okay, so in this problem, the seventh one, a 4-pole 3-phase 50 hertz induction motor runs at a speed of 1470 RPM. Find the frequency of induced EMF in the rotor under this condition. So again here also what I need to do is I need to calculate the slip of the induction motor. So to calculate the slip, I should know what is the synchronous speed. Okay, that can be calculated using the number of poles and the frequency, 120 F by P. So 120 into 50 divided by 4 will give you 1500 RPM as the synchronous speed, and the full load speed is 1470. So the relative speed what you have is 1500 minus 1470 will give you a 30 RPM. So the slip will be relative speed divided by the synchronous speed. So 30 divided by 1500 will give you a slip of 0.02, okay, or 2% slip. So the solution is like this. You can see number of poles is 4, supply frequency 50 hertz. So synchronous speed is 1500 RPM given by the expression 120 F divided by P. Speed of the motor, rotor or the motor is 1470 RPM. Slip is 0.02 as per this equation. So when I express it in percentage, I will be getting a value of 2% here. Okay. So in the 8th problem, a 10-pole induction motor is supplied by a 6-pole alternator which is driven at 1200 RPM. We already saw this kind of problems, okay, just before in this session only. There are 2 problems which I have given like this. So this is the third one. This is a 10-pole induction motor is supplied by a 6-pole alternator which is driven at 1200 RPM. If the motor runs with a slip of 3%, what is the speed? So here also I need to calculate what is the synchronous speed of the induction motor. So to calculate that, I should first calculate what is the frequency at which the alternator is supplying the induction motor. The voltage magnitude is not necessary for us. In calculating the synchronous speed, we use only the supply frequency. So based on that, I can show the solution here. The number of poles P is equal to 6 for the alternator. Okay. Speed of the alternator is 1200 rpm. So frequency of the induced EMF in the alternator will be F is equal to NP by 120. So I will simplifying this, I will be getting 60 hertz. And for this induction motor, the frequency of the supply voltage is 60 hertz. That is the frequency what we got it here. That is the frequency. Number of poles is 10. So with this frequency, when the slip of the induction motor is 3%, calculating the synchronous speed, I will be getting this as 720 rpm. Okay. Now this is the synchronous speed. Now I can also calculate, I think I have not given the rotor speed here because rotor speed I have not put it here. Rotor speed can be calculated by using this expression n is equals to n is equals to ns into 1 minus s. So here 1200 is the synchronous speed, that multiplied by 1 minus the slip is given as 3%, so 0.03. Okay. So this gives us 1200 multiplied by 0.97. So the product will give you the speed of the induction motor in revolutions per minute. Okay. So in this problem, if the electromotive force in the stator of an 8-pole induction motor has a frequency of 50 hertz, it is the other way of telling the frequency of the supply voltage, okay, and that in the rotor is 1.5 hertz. At what speed the motor is running and what is the slip, okay. So first we calculate the slip of the induction motor. There is a relationship between the induction motor stator frequency and the rotor frequency. So rotor frequency is given as 1.5 hertz and the stator frequency is given as 50. So making use of this relation, 1.5 is equal to slip into 50, I can calculate what is the slip of the induction motor. Okay. So the solution for this problem is like this. Frequency of the EMF in the stator is 50 hertz, frequency of the rotor EMF is 1.5 hertz, number of poles is 8. So the synchronous speed will be 120 into F divided by P. So I will be getting 750 rpm because the number of poles are 8, I will be getting 750. Okay. And then Fr is equal to slip times F. So 1.5 is equal to slip into 50. This gives slip as 0.03. Making use of this relationship, Ns into 1 minus S is equal to the motor speed, I can calculate the speed of the motor as 727.5 rpm. Okay. So this here I am ending my session here, okay, because so these are the problems what I have done today. These are all question paper problems of the VTU. Okay. So you can find out similar type of problems in any of the textbooks prescribed in your syllabus. So in today's session, we just saw about the method of starting of an induction motor and the necessity of starters. Okay. And then I have done certain problems about the induction motor performance just by calculating the slip, okay, at which the induction motor runs under load conditions and the speed of the induction motor under running condition. Okay. Thank you.